let's take a look at who we're now playing as. Sayao471, who actually does have interests, like biocats.
Cool.
I don't know what a biocat is, and detective novels, because we're never going to get away from that. Also, she's wanted by all the police in Omikron, which is maybe a problem, because we are going to be breaking into the police headquarters this episode.
Oh, wow. That seems like that's conflict.
Well, let me tell you, there was a lot of stuff cut out here. We're just seeing basically the highlights of a very pared down version of what I was doing originally, which I think is for the best because it's a lot of just kind of run back and forth. To start here, though, hey, it's Den's apartment. We can finally get in here now that I died on the rooftop.
Yeah.
I mean, that was what we were supposed to be doing before I got that call from Telus. And
so you inherit all the items. That's just part of this all.
Yeah, I mean, there's the tiger. There's these things. You know.
This is just pretty mundane. This like apartment, nothing really going on.
And I almost forgot. It's like, oh, right, tiger.
You actually do have to. Okay.
Yeah, you push it aside, and then there's a triangle on the floor, which I think that was supposed to be pressing a button and showing us a very unflattering close-up of that JPEG over there. But you know, what are you gonna do?
So I'm not hearing the sound. I'm assuming it's just a Zelda like chess music.
Oh, constantly playing, layered over itself, getting louder and louder.
Okay. Until it's just
the foundation of the building I'm in started to crumble around me because it was so huge.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, no, that is not the correct. I thought that was obvious, that it's like, you know, hey, you got this cool paper, but I suppose that was originally dropped by the demon. It wasn't actually dropped by Den. Nor was it Den's card. So instead, to solve this devilishly difficult puzzle, I need to go right into the other room. What a good thing. Also, we should actually start unpacking the stuff that happened last episode because
so demons are real.
Demons are real, and by the way, it is not going to be any. I mean, maybe this is a bit of a twist, spoiling a twist or whatever, or a non-twist as the case may be. But no, it's not going to be revealed that like demons were, you know, Megacorp created super monsters for wars, or like mutated people from like the power plant or something like that. No, they are demons. And the game is fully into mystical mode, where the backdrop just happens to be in a cyberpunk world.
Okay. Yeah, interesting. So it's all, that stuff is all real. Everything with the cops is not like, it's not bullshit. It's really happening. It's going to be relevant. But it's also like, it doesn't really, like, it could just be anywhere. That's the place where it is. The demon fight.
Well, this is... We have kind of touched on some of the things that I guess Den drew this picture, by the way.
Wow, that's such a bad picture. I'm glad he's dead.
Oh, that's mean. Also, like, look at how he died, though.
It doesn't sound like
at least I assume that's Den's blood. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, we've touched on a little bit of like David Cage's love of certain cliches, like the hard-boiled cop who's always getting in trouble with his coworkers, offensive Chinese stereotypes, and, you know, just in general, like a lot of that type of thing. One of the other things that he loves a lot, and I mean a lot, is having a big twist in his game that doesn't really fit with the rest of the game. And I guess you're supposed to be so floored by it, so amazed that it's like this sci-fi alternate universe isekai starring you, the actual player yourself, is actually about demons and magic. Oh, yeah, right. There is actually quite a few other areas that need to be in here. And that you're not really supposed to think about, like, doesn't that invalidate most of what actually happened here? Meaning that you're just kind of spinning your wheels for, like, yeah, that was a good 3 episodes before we got to what? No, that is not what I meant to do in here.
So probably
there's a couple of
3 or 4 hours of gameplay or so. I mean, just
especially if you don't know what you're doing, you can spend a long. I at least knew what I was doing for the most part. And it's like normally people are going to be spending a lot longer doing that, and then it's just kind of like, yeah, everything else up until this point, fuck it.
Yeah, it's like that's not that deep. It's just it's shocking, of course. It's like, oh my god, everything that I thought I knew about this game is different. But then you're like, oh well then why did I do all of that stuff? Like,
but then you think about it critically for a couple seconds, and you're like,
exactly.
Wait a second.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, I'm kind of surprised that the game that was suggested was Omikron of the entire Cage oeuvre, or whatever you want to call it.
So
yeah, I totally bungled that word. Anyway, yeah, because it's like other games, like especially Fahrenheit and Heavy Rain, for example, it's way worse. This is like, it's dumb, but you know,
it's not like offensively dumb. It's just kind of
it's
like,
not as
what?
egregious. It's not as egregious as the other games in this series. So it's kind of surprising. I mean, I do think that it's like, this is possibly like maybe the biggest Fahrenheit had a pretty big one without talking about it too much. Anyway, this is saying you have to use mana to cast spells, and you can cast that reincarnation spell near those people that quote unquote looked more what do they say? Looked more convincing, had a more convincing body, and you can change characters now. There's not really too much reason to do that, because you like lose stuff when you do that.
Okay.
Like your experience in fighting. Yes, that is a thing you can like level up. And I think you like lose like ammo for guns and stuff. Yeah, sure. Kale could pee 5 times in a row, but this is the point in time where you decide to show a little restraint.
Yeah, exactly. That's.
Anyway, as it turns out, the blast shower for once. Not that you could tell, considering I was clipping through it very badly. Well, anyway, yeah, it's like this is a thing in the Cage games where it's like the big twist, and up until this point, I don't really think that the writing for this game, or like, and really for a lot of like the Cage games, gets like especially bad. Certainly very sleazy.
I mean,
and
yeah.
like I said, you know, there's those tropes that he loves.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's well written, but for a video game, and let's just be honest, video games are usually not very well written. This is relatively well written. I would say this is
I would say it's fine.
What was that?
I would say it's fine.
Yeah, it's not like a. It's
still
not like
more stuff to do. By the way, did you know that these weird cyber torches are actually supposed to be Transcan terminals? Because I didn't.
Wall of text so that I have to read this.
It was like 15 minutes. Yeah, I'll vamp a little bit more about like David Cage stuff. Okay, so basically the thing with David Cage especially is that the way he seems to write scenes in games is that you're supposed to be so caught up in like the action or the twist that happens that you're not really supposed to notice how it doesn't really fit with the rest of the game. And I want to say in Omikron especially, it's not that bad. Like, frankly, it's a dumb twist. It's a super dumb twist to be all like, you thought it was technology, but it's magic. But it's like, I just think about the other games that he's worked on, and especially had like a big creative control over, and they're so much worse.
So I don't have any. I've never played a David Cage game, so I can't even compare them. I just know.
Yeah, I think that's why you were entirely unprepared for that like particular scene there. Whereas it's just kind of a thing that happens if you've seen a lot of his games.
And the thing
this is just the genesis of it. Derek, you're just right here.
Transformed into fierce beasts.
I mean, yeah, it was, but, like, obviously the helpful guy was going to be the villain and not the guy who was angry at you. I mean, you figured that out the first time you saw him, where you're just like, wow, this guy looks super sinister.
And you decried that. You're like, oh, everyone looks sinister. It's just a graphics engine.
Yeah, I was trying desperately to sell the game because I wanted to wait until we at least hit the fateful encounter on the roof before we really started railing on this thing.
Yeah, see, this isn't even like this isn't a great twist either. This is just like, okay, so it turns out the nice guy, okay, I mean,
yeah, and the mean guy wasn't actually evil. Okay. Also something that you'll see appears in other Cage games later on. He's a I'm gonna call him what he is. He's a hack. He's a hack writer.
Yeah, that's kind of the impression I'm getting here.
And this was the first one, so you might have just excused this as being kind of new. But that's again why it's like it's kind of surprising that they got me playing Omikron. Yeah, and also the whole thing with like you're the player in the game is so hokey. I hate it.
Yeah, no,
I hate it more than anything else.
I actually love that because it's like there was no like this whole idea that it's a video game. No one thought it was a video game except literally like beyond the fourth wall. It's like
right. That's what they're doing here.
Uh-huh.
Me, don't you remember me? My soul is currently inhabiting Saya's body.
So you, Doc Inferno Firebird, you are the soul. You're the Nomad soul.
I am the Nomad soul.
I
me.
see.
And I'm being like, isn't this a video game though? And they're like, no, it's not.
Okay.
Did you not even like get that because it was so dumb?
I was thinking, okay, well maybe it wasn't literally a fourth wall thing. Maybe it was like
no,
okay.
it is literally a fourth wall. I know it's like your brain wants to block it out because it's so stupid. But
Yeah.
here we are.
Remove all doubt. Yes, with this conversation.
The player, my human soul is currently in Saya's body fighting one of these demons, which at this point in time you can actually get a good look at them, and they're just kind of like modeled flesh textures.
They look exact. They were clearly just humanoids with a slightly different texture. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah,
it takes like 3 kicks to kill them.
Well, you gotta remember I am playing on easy mode because,
Okay.
Well, anyway, now I'm done in Den's apartment, and we're going back to the morgue to do something that I thought I could have done earlier, but I'm not entirely sure. Finally using that medical thing. Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, the demon designs in this game are terrible. They're awful. They're just nothing. They're just like fleshy, like modeled textures on a vaguely humanoid figure.
The thing that really gets me is that their stance is just like humans. Like they just look like a human, like in a fighter game. Just like it's like when you ever play those old sports games, like where like I think Activision sports games, where sometimes they would just have like, oh well, there's an alien team. There's a team of aliens who also plays baseball or something.
Yes, I actually like that because God, no DNA. Organic tissue from a non-human being. Yes, this is going to save us a little bit of time later. Specifically when I go and talk to this monk guy.
Yeah, but it's like that's just like a ridiculous twist. It's supposed to be just like, okay, well, what if lizards could play baseball? And it's just like, okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like it's so easy to put in another character that I can't remember exactly which wrestling game it was, but you got like all the people on the current WWE lineup. And then you keep going down, and there's like a snowman and a lizard man and Santa and like all of the developers.
That's nice.
And it's like there were so many of those. I guess because it was just so easy to put them in the game.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it feels like. But it feels like he's also investing the entire emotional weight of the series. Like this is the iconic horror, and it's just like, oh, you just.
But you're supposed to actually think that the developers of the game are in the game and they're being controlled by the Santa.
Yeah, but it's like in this one, it's like, okay, well, we're supposed to think that the iconic villains are just like, well, humans, but you just put like some fins and wings on it or something.
Yeah, I mean that's like basically what they are. I mean we've seen 3 different demons now.
Yeah.
The Tellus demon. Oh, by the way, if you didn't see, Tarek did say that. The demons can take the form of humans, and I guess basically Tellus got killed and then had her soul taken, and the demon turned into her form. So she wasn't actually a demon the entire time.
Also,
presumably the last time she was alive was when she called me.
Okay.
But she doesn't matter anymore, so whatever.
Also, I just want to. I think it's funny that you're just like calling out like the tropes that he's a fan of. Like he's like some auteur. Like he's Martin Scorsese. Martin Scorsese. He really likes to have that like Irish character in an Italian mafia to really just underscore that he doesn't really fit in. He doesn't really fit in with the mafia, but he also doesn't fit in completely with American society. He's in this strange, racial and ethnic place where he's definitely ethnic and he doesn't fit in with this Italian mob. He never will completely. Like he'll never be a main.
Yes, I see what you're saying. Oh my God.
But then in this case, it's just like, David Cage is like putting racist Chinese stereotypes.
This is not a
That's
racist stereotype. This is his love of mysticism, which he puts in, which basically after Fahrenheit, I think, I know he wanted to put it in Heavy Rain, but but basically people said, no, don't do that. It's stupid.
And then also like the trope is like, oh, well, there's a bad cop. Like,
the bad, like detectives entirely. He loves detectives as much as Sayao apparently loves detective novels. I don't know why, but it's like it's appears in almost every one of the games. So this is why I went over to the morgue to get that piece of the demon. I mean, extremely rare, but apparently somebody can just wrench one off with their fingernails. Sure, whatever. I mean, I guess I see what you're saying. Tarek didn't actually leave a body. I mean, you might confuse that with, like, the scene kind of abruptly ended with absolutely no transition and there was no Tarek body on the floor or anything. But no, that's part of the lore. The way that every single scene ends in a way where the camera just kind of snaps back to third person with no transition or, like, natural feeling at all. That's a charm of the game.
You know, it is really... One thing I'm getting frustrated with as we go on in this game is how fucking simultaneously it's totally ridiculous. Okay, absolutely just, you know, so much stuff is happening all the time, but also it just is so humorless at the same time. Like, he really wants to make this a good, serious game. Like, shit.
Absolutely. Actually, I swear I talked about this before. I'm not entirely sure, but basically David Cage loves Omikron. Actually, and speaking of, like, kind of weird things, hey, you're missing the texture on the other side of that power rod, which looks definitely like a weapon straight out of Halo. Though I do think this predated that by quite a bit, so fair enough. I'm just saying.
Fahrenheit.
Yeah. No, David Cage loves Omikron, and this was like his dream game to make. And he, like, was very, very serious about it. And he even talks about how, Omicron's not over yet. We're getting more games. Anyway, we're back in the police station, down in the ventilation room. You might be like, hey, wait a second. Weren't you wanted by all the police in Omikron?
So this is not over. This is just the beginning of the story. We haven't fully resolved it.
Oh, not at all.
That's giving me a lot of hope for the ending of this game. All right.
Oh boy. Well, anyway, again, it's like, wasn't she wanted by all of the police in Omikron? How did she just walk into the basement of the building? I don't know.
So
I just did it.
You just spawn there?
I did it, and then I wandered around because it was kind of hard to see these things on the wall. So, yeah. Well, anyway, you remember Den's great picture? Drawn by Den, age 36.
Oh, shit.
Unfortunately, that doesn't come up here. Instead, we're going to be getting our first taste of the swimming physics. Oh, God. It's inverted controls, and I don't know if you can tread on top of the water. I couldn't figure out. But this is just... Now, from what I remember, this doesn't come up a whole lot in the game, but good God.
Now, I want to point out that this is 1998 or something, right? It's not like...
Oh, 2000.
Oh, 2000, okay. So, I'm pretty sure Banjo-Kazooie had already come out. Now, I know it's not fair to compare console games to PC games. But still...
This was a console game.
Like...
This is a Dreamcast.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Okay, well then it's completely fair. And Banjo-Kazooie looked a lot better than this. Like, a lot better.
Well, what they tried to do was they tried to go with the very expressive faces, but...
But then also, they didn't have enough either technology or just resources to make that kind of, realistic...
Oh, boy. If we're going to talk about... This is the point when they did have the resources.
Oh.
Just ignore that, I guess. Oh yeah, now, I don't want to spoil too much about what's going to be coming up eventually, but that's maybe one of the other very famous things about this game.
Okay, well I will wait to find out because I am.
You're already kind of seeing it happen like take note of sort of the level design of these areas and everything, but yeah.
Okay.
So yeah,
that is cryptic enough. I have no idea. Oh, also, I did go back after we did the third episode where the great demon reveal, and then I looked at it, and it's like the second episode. It's like, yeah, they do give you a lot of hints that there might be a demon.
They give you a lot of hints. It's a kind of a stupid amount of hints for what should be. I mean, if you're trying, like, why have stuff like mana potions and asking Tellus if she believes in demons
over and over, yeah. And then there was that scene with like where the
oh god,
basically a demon made. But
yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, just great fixed camera platforming.
Yeah,
it feels so good and was so predictable.
But there's literally a character who's just clearly a demon who's just like, ooh, I would love to have this body to shelter me. She's like, and I was like,
no, that was not them talking. That was me.
Oh.
Because I can turn into them now that I have the reincarnation spell, and I'm the Nomad soul.
But that was before the demon reveal, though. We said that then.
Yes, it's super dumb, but you can do, like, you get those messages well before. Okay. There's so. Also, yeah, like webs on the walls. What? I don't know. Yeah, you see kind of what I'm talking about, where it's like, I guess it's supposed to be the ventilation system for the police station. Why is it like twice the size of the police station?
Well, I mean, maybe it's the ventilation system for the whole city or something.
Maybe it's actually like
the police
the
control
sewers.
it because it's really important.
But there's like standing water and fans and everything's rusty, and there's like huge grated windows going into police offices, as we just saw there. Oh god, this place has got to smell terrible.
Yeah. Well,
the entire police station probably smells like a sewer.
It's not clear what's going on here. Like what?
I tried to jump that. They didn't let me do it. Oh. We're getting into Gandar's office, remember? We were told by Jenna that Gandar is the guy who's heading up the portal to Earth to lure in video game players' souls. Remember, this is the plot of the game.
I like how there's this. All the textures and designs in this game feel like they're both incredibly cheap and incredibly elaborate at the same time. I don't know how to describe it, but look how sparse the decorations are in this room. It just
yes.
Oh shit! Okay, that's actually pretty awful. That creature.
Yeah, it's just nothing. All demons are like, I don't know why, but like, you would think that your main fighting force you'd want to have like some better designs for them.
I actually kind of like this one because it really does seem awful and not in like a bad way. Like just.
I mean, I guess it's got like mandibles. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, and
I'm so glad that I put it on easy mode. By the way,
like a human.
Again, see what I mean with the whole like no transition, and it's just kind of
The transition was just like, oh, this awesome like last blow, like, and it's gonna replay it 3 times so you really know that you did it. Hey, hell
By the way, one of the things that we didn't even touch on was right at the end of the fight against Tarek, there was a great song playing. I think after this episode, I might have to like link you a YouTube video of it or something.
I definitely will. Yeah,
because we didn't get to hear too much of it, and I think we're going to be hearing more of it later. But it's a real standout in this game. I guess I couldn't get David Bowie to do everything. I actually remembered this time that you can look in the drawers on the desk.
Also, there's like David Bowie I don't know what's happening with David Bowie, but just that subtext is still there. Like they still have that bullet in the chamber. We haven't.
Here's the thing. Actually, in front of Den's apartment, if I looked around a little bit more, we would find a flyer for a illegal band called The Awakened that we could go see a concert of.
Oh my god! Okay.
And oh my god, you see 2000s era like motion capture with these graphics of David Bowie, but he's actually performing a song. So I'm just like, I should probably not do that. Oh yeah, this is what I expected.
Also, just yeah, David Bowie.
Yep.
Of course, David Bowie is a musician, like a band musician. Of course, that's what's happening.
Yeah, he is in a and you can actually go to several of his concerts in there. It's just they actually do play David Bowie songs. I feel like I should at least maybe go back and yes, this is happening by the way. I feel like I maybe should go back and do it just because the motion capture, it's actually David Bowie performing, but using these graphics. It's amazing. But anyway.
Also, are they the real David Bowie songs? Are they original?
No, they were off of the album Hours.
Okay.
I think they might have been composed for this game, but they also got the major release anyway.
I mean, I'm sure David Bowie is just coming up with songs all the time, and he's just like, well, okay, you know what? I was also working on a bunch of songs. How about we use that as a cross promotion kind of thing?
According to David Cage, he approached him for that, for the to get a song for the game. Yeah. But hey, here's what the power rod does. Yep. Yeah.
It's magic, but it's also a gun.
It is also a gun, and here's zombies.
I like that because it's the whole twist is that it's not just he's not just a cop, and we're not just fighting with guns. It's just, but then it's okay, well the magic weapon is a magic gun.
It is a magic gun. Now, the problem with that is that you only get the power rod, whereas there's 10 different guns in this game. However, when it actually comes to fighting the truly difficult enemies, you have to use the power rod. So, good design there.
That sounds
whatever.
awful.
It's infinite ammo and stuff.
That's a joke.
I know, right? It's okay, I want to take out my Megazuka. Yeah, nice try. No.
I mean, it's one thing if that's okay, at a certain difficulty level, it becomes impossible not to use it. But even then, it's well, you should be able to beat them with.
I want to take out my Megazuka and use that against Commandant Gandar, which is apparently who this guy is. We didn't even see him in his human form. Do you think he always looks like this?
I don't know.
Oh, that was easy.
Why? Okay,
because he's doing
he's not
this.
dead. Okay, obviously, yeah.
It's not that dumb.
Okay.
Oh man, this is another part of the game where I'm just I'm so glad I put it on easy because I've seen other people play this game before, and this boss fight is a nightmare. He does way too much damage. You do virtually no damage, and also you need to hit him in his head, which is why I'm not doing any damage right now. And it's horrible. It's just the purest exercise in misery. Because as you can see, it's you got to circle strafe around the arena, but you can only do that so much. So then you got to go the opposite direction, and he hits you with those little green bolts a million times, and you die, basically. Okay, but it's thankfully, I put it on easy mode, so it's cool. And also, I picked up 1,000,000 health packs. Also, yeah, look at how fast I'm chunking down his health.
This boss... They haven't established this boss well at all, but this is a pretty cool boss design. I mean, it's a demon.
It's not the worst.
Yeah,
but of course, he's the big boss. I would expect him to at least look different. I mean, when he was in his humanoid form, he certainly looked basically like everybody else. At least this big weird worm man.
That was the whole thing.
That was the whole thing. The souls of gamers are saved due to my actions.
Oh, good for you. Thank you.
Unfortunately, I'm still stuck in Omikron for the time being.
That was funny because that boss battle was it looked so difficult, but it was also so unsatisfying. It was only a single phase. And it's just basically, can you shoot him enough?
Again, it's if I wasn't playing on easy mode, it would have been... Well, it wouldn't have been better. It would have just been a horrible slog.
That's the thing is, it doesn't look like it would have been... I mean, it would have been more difficult, obviously, but it wouldn't have been more, satisfying. It's not you're...
Well, that's the whole, he sunk into the lava, and then you just snap back. We didn't even get to see, the portal explode or something. It just kind of turned off.
Congratulations, I'm impressed.
It's like,
To tell you the truth,
that's,
I didn't
you know.
succeed.
Oh, hey, Jenna. It's, yeah. Well, yeah, so one of the things we picked up in Gandar's office, as Jenna's saying right here, is that got a pass to John Purr, which is the next of the 4 boroughs of Omikron. And that's what we're going to be picking up next time, with actually getting into the Awakened.
Be careful.
More demons.
Militia may already be.
And it's going to be more demons, yeah. But hey, I mean, at least they're going to get to see a new area that's not just Anakba.
Oh, that should be fun. I don't know. Is fun the right word?